All right, what is up, people of the internet? Welcome to 2023, the season premiere. This is another episode of the Waveform podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Marques.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm David.
And today's episode, let's see, we have a couple fun little bits of tech news to start the year. We have not one, but two Pro Display XDR competitors recently that we'll talk about. Pixel 7's randomly exploding. Also, some new Qi 2 information. We're trying to figure out what that means for the future of Android and iPhone wireless charging. And also, we'll wrap it up by bringing CES to us. It's a banger to start the year.
Bangers only.
Yeah.
On this podcast.
Dot what again?
Net.
Of course.
Bangersonly.net on this podcast right now.
But the first thing you have here is AirTags luggage, and I'm going to let you explain because I haven't seen this story.
It was really quick, but I just thought it was funny. Pretty much, do you know how like 2 weeks ago we had this crazy weather in the US and we had tons of, we had flights canceled to the point where I think Southwest was like losing their employees. Like they didn't even know where they were. Anyways, lots of delayed and canceled flights, lots of lost luggage, and surprisingly, a ton of tweets and stories I saw about people finding their luggage only because of their AirTags. When the one instance was somebody at the airport, them saying, "Oh, your baggage is somewhere else," and them like walking up to a door and saying like, "No, it says it's right behind here," and then them opening the door and finding a bunch of luggage for people waiting.
So I've put AirTags in our tripod bags because that's the only thing that we check under the plane when we travel. I swear to you, it's the number one first place you should put an AirTag is in your luggage that goes under the plane, because you are separated from your belongings and you just have to trust whatever they say about where your belongings are, and they're usually wrong.
Yeah.
And that's been so helpful for us. It's actually been helpful with one of our trips already.
Yeah, I think like what are they, $29 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
You get a pack of them.
It seems super worth it, especially if you're traveling often or traveling with expensive stuff. One of these other stories that kind of blew up was a woman who put it in her luggage. They said it was with a distribution service. She saw it in the dumpster of next to the dumpsters of this apartment complex, because apparently United used some third-party delivery system to deliver the bags, but they delivered it to the wrong place outside an apartment complex and claimed it was delivered. And then only because she could say it's not delivered, I see where it is, did they get that back and get it to her eventually. Wow. And so not only are AirTags helping you if you lose it, but maybe airlines will realize they can't lie quite as bad, or they just won't care and they're airlines. And
yeah, there are some viral videos on YouTube already of people tracking packages with AirTags. They'll ship something.
Oh, really?
And then the package will do this weird route and they'll call and ask what happened, and DHL will give them an explanation that is absolutely not what's happening with their package. And I just find that hilarious. Yeah. I think AirTags are if you haven't got one for a holiday gift, it's probably a good thing to grab if you're going to travel.
Great stocking stuffers for
that's a really good point.
12 months from now.
Yeah.
Get on it now, because I know you're going to forget in December and not order it on time.
Get your Christmas shopping in early in January 2023. Yeah.
All right, we've got these Pro Display XDR competitors, I guess I'll call them, that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Should we start with the Samsung or the Dell?
Let's do the Samsung, because it's remember a while ago they released was it the M8, which was the studio display competitor, the smaller one? So now they stepped up and they're doing the 32-inch Pro Display. I don't know if it says 32-inch, but the 5K webcam included.
It's called the Samsung Viewfinity S9.
Great.
And I'm assuming a lot of these announcements are coming off just because it's around CES, and they're just here's some new stuff we came out with. So this is a new monitor. It's a 5K 27-inch monitor. It's got, actually that might be wrong.
And I think you're looking at the 27-inch for the M8. There's not a lot of information on this because it's getting released at CES this week. I just see 5K with a 4K camera, can be used through Thunderport and supports USB-C for data transfer and viewing and everything. So it's 5K Thunderbolt webcam included. That's the main kind of things for it.
Yeah.
Also, I agree with you. Viewfinity S9, maybe not best name, but in the scale of monitor names,
that's true.
Probably S tier, just because of how bad all of them are.
A162789Q.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
WFP.
I will take Viewfinity S9 100 times
Which
over.
I guess we should probably just have an explainer video as to what those things mean.
I almost did that.
Generally, they do have a format for like, this is the year, this is the screen size, this is whether or not it has anti-glare.
That's how I always remembered what model of Dell ultra short monitor I had, because they had a very explicit system. It was like the WFP, which is wide format panel, and then like 3700, and like that would be the screen size, and then the resolution. It would all just be coded in the model number.
Yeah.
Which like that should be the model number, not the name.
Totally.
But
branding can be a thing. You don't have to just use model numbers for everything.
The Samsung actually looks just as good as a Pro Display or a Studio Display.
It does have a pop-up camera on the top, which is a little
like
different.
If you're going to add a camera, this is about as good as you can do that. Guess what? The camera sitting on top of my Pro Display looks worse than this.
Yeah, this looks great.
So this looks good to me.
Is it a 1080p camera?
It says 4K slim fit camera.
4K.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think good. It also has a little like IR sensor on the bottom, because Samsung seems to do with all of their bigger monitors lately,
stuff.
that it has all Samsung smart TV capabilities.
Yeah.
Cool.
Kind of cool.
Tons of stuff Apple's display does not do. Yeah. So that's the Samsung. That's classic Samsung. I do appreciate that, and that is something I think I will actually really like to see. Should we swap to the Dell then?
We should actually get this though, because we never got the M8, the smaller one, to actually try. Yeah. We should really try this one. I think this looks really
see
cool.
If the monitor's good, or the webcam's good, because the Pro Display doesn't have a webcam, and the Studio Display has an okay webcam.
Yeah.
Like a very okay
After many software updates.
Yeah. It took a lot to be okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Dell has one. Dell has a new 32-inch 6K ultra sharp monitor. It is HDR 600 certified, so this isn't like Pro Display XDR type HDR. But as far as the rest of the things the panel will do, it has a webcam built in, it has dual 14-watt speakers, it has noise-canceling mics, it will charge a laptop up to 140 watts if you're plugged into it, 3 USB-C ports, 2 USB-A ports, HDMI, Ethernet, mini DisplayPort, and 2 of the ports actually face forward. They'll pop out.
Oh, they pop out. That's kind of cool.
That's like a solid amount of things that Apple's display doesn't do. But then you look at it, which like a monitor is something you have to look at. Let's be honest. Like if you want your desk and your setup to look nice, you have to look at your monitor.
Yeah.
And I think this is, I don't know, maybe you disagree with me. I think this is much uglier than the Apple one.
This is Dell, which means these are probably going to be used in, when I worked at Intel, we had all Dell monitors, right? Yeah. And if you're working in industry, like you probably don't really care what the monitor looks like. This is clearly made for video conferencing, because that like webcam at the top is like really, really prevalent, and it probably has really good mics and everything. Mm-hmm. So it's probably made for like business use cases. I should also note that the Dell 4K webcam that came out either last year or the year before, that was like the best webcam on the market for a very long time, and it's still considered one of the best webcams on the market. And the Opal C1 was kind of the webcam that was kind of fighting against it. Mm-hmm. That webcam's $200 on its own. So if you buy a monitor that has hopefully a similar styled webcam or a similar quality webcam, then like you can theoretically take $200 off of that theoretical price. But again, I think that this is mostly going to be for industry.
Yeah, right. So the big difference is who it's for. Like the Pro Display is an imaging focused display. You're getting it because you're concerned about color. You're going to be image editing, video editing like we do. And that's the primary focus of getting this. You get a bunch of these, they all match. Everyone can see the same media looking the same way. This one's not for that, but if you do want a bunch of pixels and a bunch of surface area and a webcam built in and high wattage charging for a machine, like that's what this is for. I don't think there's a price yet. I don't see the 2023 launch, but I don't see a price. If I'm guessing, it's going to cost less than Apple's.
I got to say, there's no way this is not used outside of business, because the specs are like 140 watt charging for laptops. When you work at a large corporation, everyone uses a laptop and just docks into a display. Mm-hmm. It's got a security lock slot. I mean, you're not going to use that at home. This is definitely going to be for large corporations.
There's
fair. No way anyone else is using this.
That's fair. They're not slotting Pro Display XDRs.
No.
Fair. No. Okay. No, but I think I prefer the Samsung. I really like the Viewfinity S9 despite its terrible name.
It's got a big bezel on the bottom, but
not as big as the Dell's top bezels.
Fair enough.
Like I hear people say that's a big bezel, but I look at it and it's black and it kind of fades away for me. Like it is bigger because it's bigger than the other ones, but I don't mind it.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I guess we should talk about pixels exploding.
Yeah.
You might have been wondering what I was
Did you see this online at all?
I did not.
Did you, David?
I didn't really. I think I saw an article headline. But
Yeah, there's not too much to it. I kind of just want to like throw it out there because it seems to be like a decent handful of people on Reddit and Twitter have had this problem. Not enough to where like I think everyone should be worried about their Pixel, but like I feel like it needs to get out there enough because it doesn't seem like Google's doing anything about fixing this right now. But people are posting pictures of their Pixel 7s and 7 Pros, I believe, of just the like an exact circle cut out around the camera lens just imploding essentially and cracking and missing the glass. They're not exactly sure what's happening. It seems pretty random. Some people are assuming it's weather change, but like despite it being cold in the US, I don't think there's any outside weather that should cause enough of a change to where a phone shatters from it.
Yeah.
That seems kind of crazy.
Yeah. Also in that exact circular.
It is like perfectly around the camera. I kind of just wanted to talk about it really quick because it seems I understand that it's hard for a company to say like, oh, here's a broken piece of a phone. Is this user error or is this something we messed up? But this flaw seems so obvious and so perfectly like the user error of shattering a perfect circle out of a screen like that should be obvious enough to where it's like, this is our flaw. We should know about it. We should fix this. You're looking at even more pictures and it's just circles around the lenses. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, my first inclination was like, is it a pressure change thing in the glass? Because that's like there's a very small amount of glass that covers the sensors. Now that they have that metal camera bar, so it's either that the glass is more fragile because it's smaller, or
like less of it. I mean, temperature change can do stuff like that. We had that cabinet in the office years ago that just shattered.
Have we told that story on the pod?
I think we have.
Probably. Long story short, we had a tempered glass cover on top of a cabinet, and it was sitting in the sun in the corner of the studio. And we left to go do something in a different room and came back, and it was completely shattered.
Wow.
And I was like, what happened? That's kind of weird. It was just sitting here and nothing happened. And we walk back to the security footage of the studio while we were gone. And it's just video footage of the empty studio, and you just hear it shatter. And nothing happens.
It was simultaneously in the sun and under an HVAC unit.
Yeah, under air conditioning.
It's like if you go to the like subreddit for like battle stations on Reddit, you'll see people that are just like, well, I went to work and I came home and their entire computer desk is just in pieces because they used one of those tempered glass desks,
right?
And their computer is just everywhere, and their monitor is broken. And
if your desk is just the tempered glass, it'll just shatter right through. This one, it was just like a cover on top of wood, so it was like the glass shattered, but then it was just sitting on top of the wood. Oh, weird! It was really eerie. Anyway, so this kind of reminds me of other gates that we see in phones where it first starts in very small numbers. And you kind of have to, obviously everyone who's seen this problem will do their due diligence and find everyone else who had this problem. And the question will be, is this issue common enough that Google should do something about it? Now, anyone who has the issue would say, yes, of course Google should. But think about like when the Galaxy Fold screen broke and it was like, oh, there's 2 of us. Oh, there's 3 of us. Well, that's 3 out of the 9 phones they gave out. Right. That's a huge percentage. They figured it out. It was a problem. But then it would be like, some random tiny manufacturing glitch with an iPhone or something. Someone has a problem with a phone, and it turns out there's a few of them, but it's not really that common. It's not a reason to not buy the phone. It's probably not going to happen to you if you get yours. No problem, but Apple should still remedy it with like some sort of warranty help. I don't know where this is for the Pixel. I've never seen this issue. It hasn't happened to mine, obviously, but it's one of those things you'll keep an eye on. We'll see how many people come together. Remember when Samsung's phone started exploding? When the Note, it was like, all right, I understand that only a few of them exploded, but it exploded. So that's kind of like a little heavier on the priority list.
And then the airlines banned them. And
it only takes like 3 of them exploding on a plane for them to be like, no, this can't keep happening.
This is not a threat to safety, but it does, like, people are posting their support tickets saying this is not included as part of the warranty, where I feel like that maybe should change. I don't think you should not buy a Pixel for this. I don't think you should be worried that much about this, but it does seem like it's pretty obviously not user error and a flaw in the device.
We'll see if they find a way to Well, first of all, find out what's happening and then find a way to fix it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we go into ad break, as you know, it is 2023, which means it is time for the beginning of our next season of trivia. There it is.
Yeah, baby. All right. So as we kick off season 3, not a whole lot has changed. We're going to actually keep track of
Season 3.
games played now. Yeah. Why did we call last season season 2? I realized I can't
'Cause we did it-
remember.
Because Andrew and I decided to.
No, we wrapped up
There we go.
like a season at one point
Yeah,
before that.
Was
We
I
started
here?
Yeah, we started changing things slightly when you came, so we were like, let's just call it the end of season.
Oh, right. Yeah, we
I
added
think the start of the
music
whiteboards was
and the
season
the
2.
whiteboard.
Oh.
That's right.
So whiteboards are season 2,
Yeah.
and now we're just going by year.
Sure.
Just so you know the lore
Sure,
of
yeah.
trivia, yeah.
All right,
This is
season
where
3.
we're
I
at.
like
we
it.
had to change it to match up with the year we're in, kind of like how. Did
Oh,
Samsung do
2023.
that?
Samsung did that, yeah.
Samsung did
So
that,
so this is season 23,
Yeah.
is what you're saying.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
I also want to note that I'm very happy that I get to start at 0 with the rest of you.
Fair.
Start.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So to kick off season 3, I've got a banger here for everyone.
Bangers only.
.net.
You're going to sell that by the end of the year?
He's pumping it so he can dump it.
I did see a large traffic spike over the weekend. I want to say that.
Man.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't
All
have
right.
ads on it, though. Anyway, continue.
Which of the following is not a flavor of G Fuel?
Oh, what?
I'm going to read you 4 real flavors of G Fuel and 1 fake flavor of G Fuel, and you can tell me which one is which. Number 1, spicy demonade.
I hope that's
Spicy demonade. Number 2, clickbait. Clickbait
that's-
flavor.
Oh, I mean, I don't know anything.
Number 3, blaze potion. Number 4, battle juice. And number 5, the juice.
Fun.
wow.
V juice?
I've never drank G Fuel in my life.
I've tried it. It's terrible. No one should ever drink it.
Max Weinbach
disgusting.
would like to have a word with you.
That's disgusting. There are a million other energy drinks to destroy your body with out
Oh,
there.
I don't know if this makes a difference. These are all tubs. I don't even know what that means, but someone on Reddit was like really clear, like, these flavors are only tubs. You won't find them in...
I think it's because they
They
sell.
They've started making cans that they sell
Yeah,
in
they sell
like Walmart and
cans.
stuff. Yeah.
Is it fizzy?
I don't know.
That's not the question I was expecting you to ask.
Fizzy clickbait? If that's the real one? Who knows?
I
We're lost.
we'll be right back. Support for this episode comes from Klaviyo. So if you're watching us right now or listening to the pod, thank you for being a part of our show. It means a lot because without you tuning in, well, I guess I might as well be not doing anything. Yeah.
You wouldn't do anything at all if you weren't a YouTuber?
Well, I'd have a different job, but it would be very different. It would be, I suspect I'd be somewhere out, you know what I'd be? I'd be the guy who right now is in charge of selling those Rivian delivery vans to the Amazon warehouses. That person's doing a great job. I'm seeing him everywhere. But who has to like convince them to buy a fleet of like 100 of them?
You're like the cranberry guy who convinces cranberry should be in every other juice.
Yeah,
I'd be an astronaut.
that'd be sick.
We all got pretty sweet jobs.
Yes. Lucky for us, we're in a timeline, though, where we're able to live our dream. And if you're a business owner, it's returning customers that help keep your dream afloat. And that's why Klaviyo is here to help your customers stay loyal to you. So Klaviyo is the email marketing platform that brings all your customer data into one place. Over 100,000 e-commerce brands work to grow their businesses with real-time data, segmentation, and automations that the Klaviyo platform offers. So create and send email campaigns, SMS messages, and gather and analyze data instantly. With everything under one roof, you can save money, make more strategic decisions, and improve the customer experience. Klaviyo isn't just another marketing platform. It may be the only marketing platform that you need. So it's time to talk to your customers like you know them, because you do, with Klaviyo. Learn more at klaviyo.com. That's Klaviyo.com. All right, welcome back. We need to talk about wireless charging. Because I'm a little bit confused, actually, by this new headline. And we'll get into this. But the headline, and it's actually just a press release, is New Qi 2 standard for wireless devices ensures enhanced consumer convenience and efficiency. Now, I read this press release, and my understanding of it is Apple has worked with this consortium on a new wireless charging standard. We have Qi chargers now. will have Qi 2. And the benefit of this new Qi 2 is it integrates magnets like MagSafe. And so now any device that uses Qi 2 will have a MagSafe-like experience with wireless charging. And that sounds very straightforward, but the reason that confuses me is why would Apple want to just give people MagSafe? I thought that was kind of their thing. So let's jump into it.
Yeah.
We can kind of go through some of the more interesting paragraphs in the press release, but I don't know. You want to break it down? We should probably just start with like what Qi 2 is.
Yeah.
Which, to my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is Qi again, but with magnets this time.
Correct.
That's kind of it, right?
To my understanding, that is what it is as well.
So I like the magnet part because that helps you. Basically, the benefit of that is it's going to help you align things on your charger quickly. So how often do you put your phone down on the wireless charger at night? You wake up, it's slid by 2 millimeters, and your phone woke up with 12% battery because it didn't charge, right? So you slap it on the magnet, perfectly on the magnets because of Qi 2. You wake up with 100% because it's efficient. It charged as smoothly as possible. It didn't fall off the charger. It was all great. Yeah. Some magnets sound great to me.
Yeah.
And I've never had my iPhone fall off a MagSafe charger, so good looks.
Yeah.
That sounds so like nitpicky, but I feel like there's not a lot of people who went to MagSafe and have gone off MagSafe already. I got the M-Force case for my Pixel 6 and started using MagSafe accessories and loved it. I don't have the case for my Pixel 7 yet, and that happens to me all the time. And I am dying to not have like
M-Force
is Moments MagSafe like case, so I can have MagSafe on my Pixel.
So if you have an iPhone, you can slap it on any MagSafe charger and it will align and snap in place. If you have any other phone that doesn't have that array of magnets in the phone, it won't stick. But what you can do is get a case that has that ring of magnets to align that charger so that it will still wireless charge your phone and snap in place.
There are very few of them. Moments one of them. And they don't make it for that many models, but like, I just wanted to say that it sounds minuscule, but going from something with the capabilities of it to then not having it,
You appreciate it.
I'm really sad I don't have it anymore.
Yeah. So the magnets help a lot. It's underrated.
For sure. I like
So the question is, what does Apple get out of helping to make it available for everyone?
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Yeah, I think that there are a lot of people that are speculating on what is happening here because in the official press release, it says that Apple is contributing the foundations of its MagSafe technology, which that seems super vague.
Contributing patented licensed technology?
So the thing about MagSafe is that it's not just the magnet ring. It also has a microprocessor that says it does a handshake with your device and says this is a legit MagSafe accessory. And that can enable other things like the MagSafe wallet. If you have it on the back of your phone, the new one.
Yeah.
The old one didn't have this. The new one, if you take the wallet off, your phone will add a little tag like this is exactly where the wallet was last seen. So if you lose it, like it doesn't have an AirTag capability, but you know the location of where you last saw your wallet, right?
Yeah. So MagSafe is a little bit better than just magnets and Qi 2.
Right. And MagSafe specifically will charge your like iPhone at 15 watts because it knows it's perfectly aligned. It's the most efficient. Whereas if you wirelessly charge your iPhone, usually it only charges at like 7.5 watts.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that, beyond Apple wanting to sell more MagSafe accessories, is that just like the Wireless Power Consortium said in this press release, if you have the device perfectly aligned with the magnetic charging coil, it's going to be much more efficient and charge faster.
The fastest available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's like a lot of people speculating right now as to like why Apple would possibly contribute to this. One thing I was thinking about is I went and did a briefing and had dinner with the Connectivity Standards Alliance. And an interesting thing to me about that alliance is that these are not people that like this organization is sort of like a bunch of people from a bunch of different companies. And it is to a company like Apple or Google's benefit to have people on the CSA board. Because if you get to help contribute to a standard, you have influence over how you want that standard to work.
Right.
So my assumption is that Apple saw that they made MagSafe and they were like, oh yeah, we got MagSafe. We're going to make a ton of money at MagSafe. And maybe this will be the foundation of all iPhone charging in the future, possibly. But
No port.
yeah, exactly. But if they're able to sort of like take Qi, which is this standard that everyone's been using for like a decade now,
Yeah.
and they're able to like build the next version of Qi under their kind of like foundational technology that they already produce, it's easier for them to manipulate the spec in the future. And then also like, you know, all of their devices already kind of work with this. One really interesting note though, that this article from The Verge that talks about Qi 2 was stating is that the magnetic power profile, which is the branding for MagSafe, the open source MagSafe or the open standard MagSafe, does not have the exact same magnetic array as MagSafe. And they asked the guy that wrote the Business Wire article, which was the press release about this, like what's going to happen to the iPhone 12, 13, and 14? Like, will it not work with Qi chargers? And he said Apple has not disclosed that information.
Yeah, okay.
So that's kind of confusing to me. And I wonder if Apple basically just contributed like I wonder if they had some sort of patent around a magnetic array with a microprocessor.
Yeah.
And then they were basically just like, okay, standards body, you can add a microprocessor to your magnetic array, but MagSafe is still going to be different. And he says like he assumes that the iPhone and Samsung phones and like all these Android phones will work with Qi 2 in the future. But there's no like, it's really vague. Everything about this press release is very vague, which is fair because it's actually not even coming out till the holiday season. I think that they just wanted to release something at CES. But my assumption would be that Apple like wants to get ahead of, they want to sort of control the standard a little bit because it is to their benefit to be one of the bodies that actually contributes most of the technology.
Yeah.
Both from a PR perspective and from a how can we like create devices tailored to us in the future perspective. That would be my assumption.
If I'm just like putting together pieces of what I think I know about Qi charging and what I seem to have observed over the time we've used iPhones about Apple, is like we kind of see this trajectory towards them moving towards wireless charging for the default, for the standard, maybe getting rid of the port, right? So they make a lot of money on iPhone's Lightning accessories. That doesn't exactly exist right now with MagSafe. I guess you can say they're still made for iPhone through making MagSafe accessories. But if you're still able to, like if Moment keeps doing what they're doing with a magnet, Apple doesn't make money from that necessarily because it's not made for iPhone. So if they can contribute to this Qi 2 standard, which has some of the parts of MagSafe, which is the magnet, which is great, it's an improvement. But then they can say on top of that, they do this extra thing where if you want to make it made for iPhone, we have the chip inside and we have the things that like talk to the iPhone. Then they can say that anyone who wants to make a made for iPhone accessory, MagSafe, will make money from that. And then people who want to get special highlighting in our store or who want to sell a lot of things should probably include that if they want to make an iPhone accessory. And then Android will just have magnets and we'll say we contributed to that, which is cool. And they'll say they also probably contributed to less waste, energy efficiency, etc. It's a good look for Apple.
That is something they noted. They were like, in the Business Wire article, they were like, this will reduce waste from cables. And it's like, well, we're also going to have more wireless cables sitting around, and like the MagSafe like brick that you have to plug, like the puck that you have to plug into a port anyway.
Yeah, wired.
Yeah, I guess it's just that they're saying, which is, and you told me this before we were talking about this earlier. My first thought on this is like, oh, they're allowing all of this to happen. Is this their kind of step towards the like, they're getting trouble in the EU right now because they don't have a common charging port. It might be too late already because I think you mentioned that that EU law says it needs to be USB-C. Maybe this is something in the future getting ahead of that so they don't wind up creating MagSafe and then the rest of it goes portless and then they have to create something else. I don't really know there. I also think on top of what both of you said was like they're getting ahead of the game is ultimately these are just magnets in the back of a phone. I don't think they can really protect that for so long. We're seeing cases do it already. I don't know.
So I'd say there's a difference between in the case and in the phone. And I think the thing that makes MagSafe so good is there's a magnetic array alongside the coils in the back of the phone. And there's a magnetic array that matches with opposite polarization in the charger. So they just connect really easily. And if you have those magnets in just the phone and not the charger, it works okay. But if you have the magnets not in the phone, like if you try to put a Pixel on a MagSafe puck, it doesn't stick. It just like works like a normal wireless charger, but it might slide just like any other wireless charger.
I don't know copyright law. I just can't imagine getting magnets in a phone could be that hard to get around what the patent of it is. I would probably be surprised. I still don't think it would be that wild.
Yeah, I guess
it's magnets.
You could do we put the magnet paper up to the back of the phone. You can see like the charging coils, and then you see what Apple did, which is like there's a circle of magnets, and there's also a vertical line so that you can orient it in that direction. Yeah. So it lines up on the coils and then snaps in that vertical orientation. Their patent is probably on aligning orientation, so it's not just specific about the shape. I bet we could find this patent, but it's basically just about like, oh yeah, we use magnets to make sure it aligns with the back of the phone, and that's it. We do that. No one else does that, and that's frustrating because no one else
patent
on Apple's thing. So that Apple is in charge of doing that in phones.
I think they have the microprocessor as part of the patent too, because if you look at and we can show this on the podcast, but this is basically the manufacturer sample part that you have to use if you use MagSafe, and it's the ring, but then it's also got like the microprocessor in here. And so I think that is also part of the patent. I don't think that a microprocessor is specifically part of the Qi 2 standard though.
Right. Just the magnets.
I think like what you said,
just the magnets.
I think that processor is going to be the differential, to differentiate
MagSafe.
With the MagSafe, the Apple MagSafe, and the wireless standard, the Qi 2 standard.
It is also confusing that the MagSafe and the Qi 2 standards have slightly different magnetic arrays, though. I just like, I don't know. This is all so vague.
I'm also confused about like, I feel like they use the term array because array doesn't necessarily mean just size. It could be how all the magnets are placed and the strength of all the magnets and everything. So like, maybe if Apple has some sort of patent on a specific array, which to them is the perfect amount of resistance, but also sticking capability, where a different array might connect a little harder, which then is more annoying to take the puck off and stuff, or not enough. So then it's more annoying to attach to a car mount or something like that. Array feels so vague. And like you said, this is getting announced at the end of the year. I think it's just the easiest way to pretty much say nothing.
Yeah. I also want to say I emailed the Wireless Power Consortium because this article came out, or the Business Wire press release came out yesterday morning or yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
And this is all so confusing and vague. I emailed them to sort of try to understand, like, what is Apple contributing exactly, and how does this change for other devices that are not phones? And they said that the specification focuses on the charging characteristics. The size of the magnet is a design issue, and design issues are left to members to determine as they see fit. Which makes me think, like, could you have Qi 2 earbuds that use a tiny circular magnet? But then if that was the case, you would need a different Qi 2 charger. So I think all that Qi 2 is really adding is saying it does wireless charging and it has a magnet inside.
For
and
alignment.
If you can use, like, you as a manufacturer, if you're a Qi 2 member, can use whatever size magnet you want for your product. Because obviously if it's wireless earbuds, those are going to be way smaller, like the AirPods that now have wireless, the wireless magnet, use the Apple Watch charger, Apple Watch magnet charger.
Yeah.
Because obviously the whole size MagSafe charger doesn't fit on it. So I think all the spec of Qi 2 is saying is that it has a magnet in it for better alignment, and then, you know, less power loss,
better efficiency,
heat loss. So
yeah,
quite confusing.
I'm doing air quotes for audio listeners. It solves, I think, the biggest problem with Qi wireless charging, which is that it's not easy to align everything on the first try and make sure everything's charging perfectly efficiently. Put magnets in it.
Yeah.
Great.
And I will say, like, it would be really dope to see Android phones.
I want it so bad. So bad. Yeah. I want my next Pixel phone to have this already in it.
Qi 2, all the things.
Yeah.
Do it.
Also, Apple's for sure
Magnets.
looking forward at a world of no wired chargers. And they're like, how do we own this?
Yeah.
There's definitely something in the backgrounds that they're doing. This is not for pure
Tim
Oh,
Cook
yeah.
doesn't
Altruism.
just contribute for
No.
fun.
No.
There's
We all
obviously
know that.
motive.
And like
Nobody does.
what they told, like I've heard this so many times from people that are on these like alliance committees. It's like the companies that contribute to the alliances do it for a reason.
Oh yeah,
They do it because they want influence.
you're not a $1 trillion company
Yeah.
without knowing every single thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But
So-
if I get magnets in my phone, I'm gonna be a happy camper.
Yeah.
I'll shake Tim's hand. Thank you, Tim.
I found the patent for original MagSafe. It's different.
Oh.
Like in laptops, MagSafe.
Laptop.
Oh,
That. Yeah. Also, interestingly, this Verge article says that it caps out at 15 watts, but I don't think that's true because I'm on the Qi Wikipedia page right now, and Qi 1.2.3, which was released in 2017, added class 0, which allows for 30 watt max from the charger. So
could Qi 2 potentially be changing standards?
I doubt Qi 2 would move back to 15 watts because that seems lame. And also it's been 6 years.
Yeah. Bigger batteries, charge faster, please.
Yeah. But the guy from the Standards Alliance did say that they will add significantly higher power profiles in the next version of Qi 2.
The next version of Qi 2.
Yeah, I know. They didn't.
Qi 3?
I know.
Qi 2.1,
Why Qi 2 when we could do Qi 5?
Qi 2 Mark II. Sony claiming.
Mark,
It's just funny because they had Qi 1 and then they had Qi 1.1, 1.2, 1.2.3, 1.2.4, and then 1.3. But then they did an entire leap to change to Qi 2, and all they are adding is magnets.
It makes sense if you don't think about it.
True. Correct.
1.3. I'm trying to look at what was 1.3.
1.3 added, it was released 2021, which is not last year anymore. Completely restructured specification documents with 15 thematic books describing different aspects of the system. What? They added fun books for kids.
Nice.
Support for authentication of Qi certified wireless chargers. Oh, they added a microprocessor. Uh-oh.
Apple's all over this.
You know what they're doing now, baby.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Improved foreign object detection, which was basically like if you have a type of metal that could potentially heat up due to wireless radiation. Restrictions on the negotiable power levels. Maybe. Oh, yeah, because 1.2.3 added class 0, which allows consumers to allowed the consumer to negotiate up to 30 watts from the charger, and then 1.3 restricted the negotiable power levels, but it just doesn't say to how much.
So 2.1 will be 30 watt Qi 2.
That's a lot of
Mark my words.
That's a lot of data.
and then 2.2 will restrict that 30 watts.
Qi 2 electric boogaloo.
There we go. I think
That's
Adam wants to do trivia.
Yeah, that's a great place to
Wow.
end that.
Yeah.
Well, this is yet another thing to keep an eye on. It's like one of those, okay, we'll find out in 12 months
Yeah.
what that actually means. But Qi 2.
I was going to say, if you guys zoned out for that, I don't blame you, but also in 12 months, this will be interesting.
This will be. All the headlines now are like, Apple gives us MagSafe, question mark?
Yeah.
And it's like, we don't know the answer. And Apple gets a lot of that nice pat on the
Press,
back for
yeah.
11 and a half months till we figure out what the real answer is.
Until everyone forgets.
I get a magnet. That's
Yeah.
all we want.
We want the magnet.
We want
want
the
the
magnets.
All right, let's do trivia.
All right. First of all, I want that on a t-shirt. We want the magnets.
I just want to say David and I just said that like at
the same
the
time.
exact same time.
I didn't make that a soundbite. Anyway, Apple AirTags were released April 30th, 2021. Now, I didn't know if you guys knew this because I didn't, but there's a limit as to how many AirTags you can attach to your Apple ID. What is that number?
I think I know this for some reason.
It was recently increased, right?
Oh, I was
believe.
unaware.
Huh.
Okay.
I
would
think
help if-
Justine figured this out.
Oh,
Wait, you hit the limit.
So
She hit the
is your answer
Yeah.
the old limit or the new limit?
I will find out
We'll find out.
after the break.
All right, welcome back. It's the beginning of the new year, which means CES, which usually means we're going, but we're not. This is the first CES you've missed in a long time, right?
I was just thinking about how many I've gone to, and then the streak breaking in 2021, and then but yeah, I've gone since like 2012, and I'm fully not going to CES this year.
Yeah, and what makes this harder on Waveform is the show starts Thursday, which we release on Fridays. So that's also very hard. So we pulled a couple strings and we actually brought a little CES to us.
Yeah.
Shen from HTC Vive stopped by on your way to CES to show us a little something. Welcome.
I'm really happy to finally be on this show.
Yeah.
I think we've been talking about this for a while.
We have. We've seen sneak peeks. You've like flashed it in the studio a few times. This is something we've spent a lot of time on. Now you're going to show it off at CES in its entirety. What is it? What's it called? What should we know about it? What are you going to tell people at CES?
So I'll give a little bit of a background to it. So we've been working on VR headsets for 8-9 years now.
Vive is very popular.
Yeah. And, the mobile space is also growing a lot. So we released 2 really big mobile VR devices last year. So one was Vive Focus 3, which is our enterprise headset. We kind of built our best of the best technology in there. So that's things like software, tracking, optics, displays, all of those things. And we also came out with another device called Vive Flow, and it was like the first immersive glasses. And that's the kind of the form factor that we wanted to reach when it came to consumers. So for the past 2 years, we've kind of been working on this alternative, which we thought was ready for consumers. So it kind of has the best of both worlds. So it has the tech that we built for the past few years, and also all the learnings we have from building like these really elegant, smaller headsets. So I have like a pre-production one with me.
This is where it would really help if you're listening to the audio version. If you just flip over to the video version on YouTube
for a minute,
you can see what we're looking at and talking about. But okay, this is it.
Yeah, so this is Vive XR Elite.
Okay.
So this is what we're announcing at CES. So I guess by the time people hear this, it's already announced.
Probably, yeah.
And this is kind of the amalgamation of a lot of work that we've done for a very long time. So, we've have so much research into things like ergonomics, and there's so much tech in here. Like I can kind of go through it one by one. So, one, you'll see like it's really small.
Yeah.
It's also really light. So it's at around 625 grams. So it's lighter than a lot of headsets that are out there already.
Can you real quick hold up the carrying case for it? Because when you first showed this to us coming in today, that's the carrying case for the Flow, correct? Or very similar?
Yeah, this is the carrying case for the Flow. And it's kind of like it's what I'm using to carry this with me.
Oh, okay.
So one really cool thing is we kind of built on top of the Flow in that this can also become a glasses form factor.
Okay.
So the back is kind of a battery.
Yeah.
And you can fit these temple pads on, and then they turn into this glasses form factor.
Interesting. So now there's no battery you have to plug in.
Yeah, so this is really cool in a form factor if, for example, if you're on a plane or if you're sitting on your couch, you want a more passive experience. You don't have something on the back of your head like causing discomfort or pushing your head forward.
Or disabling you to like lay back onto a pillow or something. Because if you want to lay onto a pillow, you'd rather... It's kind of something I feel like with headphones a lot of the times too. If you like lean on your side on the plane, it's annoying because it's there. So
yeah,
rather than giant battery on your back, now you have nothing on the back of your head.
Yeah, exactly. So so we built this. This is very similar to Flow in that it can also fold up. And it ends up being this size that's incredibly portable. So I've been using the Flow case, and we'll have a case for this as well.
Okay.
It'll be a little bit bigger, so it fits better, but it still fits, and this is what I use to carry around with me all the time.
Okay.
And coming from, we've had a lot of headsets, and headsets generally take up the entire space of your backpack, whereas this one, is basically the size of a water bottle.
Yeah, like a good hydro flask.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, solid hydro flask, yeah. So that's one of the things that I remember when we first got to look at the Oculus Quest Pro, the Meta Quest Pro, I should call it, which was, it had no ability to fold at all. So it was large, and it had the battery on the back, like this one, and it was, comfortable to wear, and the weight distribution was better. But then if I wanted to bring it anywhere, that would be a huge pain. It would take up my entire backpack. That's what I like to see. It's a little more flexible than actually having to take that huge thing everywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of... So what's really, really interesting about this is that in these 2 different form factors, the wearing and how pressure is spread across your face is very different. When you're wearing it, it is kind of, this bit's kind of just resting on your head, so it's not putting too much pressure on you. It's also pulling the headset a little bit in, so it's actually there's not much pressure here. When you put on the cradle, it's kind of just kind of clamping to your head. Then that's why like we really had to work on weight. So this headset, especially if I take off the gasket, it's really thin, and this is around 240 grams. To put that in perspective, so the glasses form is around the weight of an iPhone Pro Max.
Yeah, 240.
Okay, I was gonna say like, what's the freedom units of that?
Same as an iPhone.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah, and with the battery, it's lighter than the latest iPad Pro.
Okay.
So it's standalone headset. So all the compute is in the front, around the ears, and also I'm assuming there's some in the bands on the sides. Maybe there's some speaker type action in the sides.
Yeah, let me put the battery cradle back on.
Sure.
And this is the full standalone configuration.
Yeah.
So when it's in a standalone configuration, the battery's at the back. There's also some cool battery tech in here. So we use a battery chemistry called lithium polymer gel. So what you traditionally find in phones is lithium polymer liquid. It has its differences. So when it's a gel, it ends up being a lot safer. It's more leak resistant. It's swelling resistant. And considering like we have a battery on your head, we want this to be as safe as possible. And then at the front is where you'll find our new displays. They're 2K, so 4K across both eyes, 90 hertz. We have a Snapdragon XR2 inside, powering all of it. And one of the hardest things about achieving a form factor like this is thermals. Snapdragon XR2 is actually quite a hot chip. We have a heritage with smartphones. So we're really good at cooling things and getting like as much juice out of them as possible. So that's what, like using the Snapdragon XR2, 12 gigs of RAM. It has 4 tracking cameras. So it has a really wide field of view to track hands, controllers, the headset itself. And at the front is where it has some newer things we've never put in a headset before. So one is a depth sensor. So it basically sprays out infrared dots, and then the tracking cameras can see them. And it allows you to, build like a mesh of your room so you can get really cool mixed reality experiences. And for mixed reality, we have a 16 megapixel high resolution pass-through camera. We actually do some pixel binning to improve the image quality. But this is what I've seen is the best color quality and image quality of headsets that are out right now. So yeah, we're really excited about this because not only is it an amalgamation of all the tech that we have in existing headsets, but we also built in a lot of the new R&D that we've been working on.
I think one of the things that I always think when I go to CES and I look at all these interesting, cool new technologies is how do you plan on it being used? Or, what's the typical customer of something like this? I don't know if you're going to have a price that you're announcing it with, but obviously with VR headsets, I typically think about gaming first, and then all the other things that it happens to be able to do alongside gaming. What do you picture the ideal experience with this new form factor being?
So this headset is priced at $1099.
Okay.
One of the reasons is VR in general isn't cheap to make. And we're a company, we have to make money on our products, right? And we're also not a social media company. So we have no plans on having a business model of, selling personal data either. So, we're in a position where we kind of have to make money, and with all the tech that we built, we want to build something that's high quality. There's a lot of race to the bottom going on in the VR space. And what we want to give is something that people can upgrade to, something that has, not the features that aren't cost compromised. Let me put it that way. So, of course, people will buy this for gaming. So we've been working with developers now to bring things like gaming on board, like existing games, new games. with some of the new features like mixed reality, we're also not only bringing in new content that has mixed reality, which like you can interact with your space, or you can like learn to play a musical instrument because you have things overlaid onto your real world. But we also have mixed reality coming to existing games and existing content as well. And because of how lightweight it is, I carry this with me all the time now because it's my travel buddy for fitness as well. So like there's standalone content that you can play. There's also PC VR that you can play with this as well. And we have really good streaming technology that it can work wirelessly. And this is one of the few headsets that also supports Wi-Fi 6E. So like very minimal interference as well. So I think one of the things that we've been trying to do is also go beyond gaming, right? Gaming is table stakes. But we want to go beyond gaming and bring things like fitness and also things like productivity. We think more and more people are going to start potentially working in VR. One of the things we designed this form factor for was that we want it to be super light and super comfortable, that if you wanted to, you could wear this for hours and work in it. I don't expect people to immediately. But
I don't know. Ellis kind of wants to do that with the podcast. He's been talking about editing a whole episode in glasses, so we'll see. Put it to the test.
What is the battery life on this if you actually try to wear it for a few hours?
So on a full charge and really active use, it will last up to 2 hours. But you can also just keep it plugged in if you want as well. And one of the really cool things is, I think for Ellis's use case, you don't need the battery pack. You can wear it in glasses mode, and it's super light on your head as well. And if you want to, if you want to look at your real world environment, you can have it in pass through or double click. Or if you just want to take it off, you can just take it off, like a pair of glasses.
Yeah. I will say I've been using, completely unsponsored, I've been using the Nreal glasses. Yeah. That's what they're called, right? Playing, and those are just, you plug it into your computer and it's like a monitor. Those for playing piano are the best. Like being able to have sheet music up in front of you and you can just like rock your head in whatever direction and it's still like right there. Amazing.
There's a really good piece of content called Magic Keys that we've been working with. And they have pass-through overlaid onto your piano. And you have like, have you seen those like piano YouTube videos where there are things coming down to the keys? Yeah. It's exactly the same. So it comes towards the keys and you have to press it on time.
So it's Guitar Hero-ifying your actual piano.
Or like heads-up display for your piano.
Sick.
Of real-time going. When you mentioned instruments before, I was like, oh. Because I keep thinking what in terms of mixed reality is something that's not work-related. Like we saw with the Oculus, it was the triple computer screens, right? But there's so much more. And mentioning instruments and working out are things that do make sense where it's like you want your room environment in. But like an instrument, a piano, it literally could essentially tell you how to press all the keys in the right order and right pace, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah, and that one not only does computer vision, but it also does MIDI detection and also sound and pitch detection. So you can use it on a real keyboard or real piano, or you can connect like a MIDI keyboard.
Digital. That's so sick. That's really well thought out. I've heard a lot about pass-through, and I obviously want to try it because I've heard other headsets also say they have the best pass-through. This is using the single camera at the front for pass-through, right?
Yeah, it's using a single camera. And then the depth sensor gives us depth information. And then, the tracking cameras also can give depth information there as well. One of the biggest challenges with pass-through is there's so much data. What you find with tracking cameras is they're generally low resolution, like VGA level, and black and white, right? So it's minimal amounts of data, enough to get tracking data, and it also means it's low latency and very responsive. So one of the key things we've been working on was trying how do we get high resolution color data through and at a low latency. And that's something we kind of finally accomplished with this.
So is it's combining that information from all of the sensors and the depth sensor, but also showing you the pass-through of the single camera on the front?
Yeah. Okay. We do some modifications so that there's some warping so the depth looks right. That's the downside of having a single camera, which is if you don't put the depth data in, it just feels like a wall. Everything that's really far looks really big. Everything that's really far looks really small. Really close looks really big.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of wizardry there as well.
Yeah. And it's tough. The parallax effect sometimes, there's a couple others we've tried where the parallax effect is very different from stereo, where like the Quest Pro does stereo, and so it feels a little more natural, but it's a little lower resolution and worse looking. So there's different pros and cons you have to weigh. So I'm curious to try this one.
Yeah, I think one, you kind of have to remember that this is like everyone is kind of limited by a mobile chipset, right? So everyone has their own ways of approaching it and their own sense of trade-offs. Right. So for us, we felt visual quality was really important. So not only is it things like color, it's resolution. It's also dynamic range. One of the really cool things about this is when I'm wearing it and I get a text or I see a message on my laptop, I don't have to take the headset off anymore. I can see text on my phone or on my laptop screen. And that just that alone means that our resolution's good enough and also the dynamic range is good enough.
Yeah, being sharp enough to read. That was one of the things. So I had the triple monitor setup, which is like, okay, this is a really cool idea. If I can put this headset on anywhere, in a car, on a train, or on a plane, and I get this monitor setup in front of me, and it's cool, and I can like plug it in and use my mouse and keyboard. But one of the problems, as I went into when you use the headset, is when you actually try to use it, it's not the best quality. It's a little bit glitchy, and things don't actually work super well. So it's always fun to see like how far you can push this chipset. Is this the same chipset that's in the Quest Pro? It's the XR2?
It's a little different.
Or a modified or similar chipset?
They're different versions. So this one is XR2 and that one's the XR2 Plus.
Right, okay.
There is a slight difference, but the only difference is that on XR2, it's built like a smartphone. So you want a really small footprint. So you stack memory on top of the chip. The upside is it's small. The downside is if it's not cooled well enough, it will throttle. So you kind of have to downclock everything if you can't cool it properly. So XR2 Plus is literally the same chip, but memory is separated. So it has a bigger footprint, so you can cool it better. But we've never had thermal issues. So we opted for the previous one, the existing one, which ends up being just as performant, but also allows us to achieve this really small design.
Nice. Yeah, I want to try it. I definitely want to try it. What is it? So I guess that you have the controllers also here. Like the tracking level of what you're able to do with like just putting your hands out in front of the Quest Pro, which is, I keep comparing it to this because that's the one I tried most recently, is pretty cool because you don't have to have the controllers in your hands all the time. What are these controllers like?
So these controllers are ones that we've had with Focus 3.
Okay.
The reason why we're shipping it with these is because they're really robust, they're well tested, and the tracking quality on these are amazing. And the thing about controllers and hand tracking is, our headset supports both of them, and they're both really important, right? There's a reason why when you're using a laptop, or just people using tablets, they still use styluses or a mouse. Because with certain tools, you get more precision out of it. You get tactility. And especially with these, you get haptic feedback as well. Right? So there's they're kind of different requirements. I think for more passive experiences, hand tracking is great. Right? You don't have to carry controllers with you, and it's just much more natural. But when you're doing things like, I don't know, if you're drawing, if you want a lot of precision, if you want feedback, that's where controllers become really important as well.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about this previously. So the way hand tracking works to select something is you essentially aim at it and then pinch your fingers together, right? I think you told me something. I was wondering why that was the way you do that, and I think you told me it's because you're getting physical tactility when you click your fingers together. I thought that was kind of crazy because it feels like a weird motion.
Yeah, if you press buttons in midair, you get no feedback.
That always bothered me about movies where you just have like a huge virtual screen in front of somebody and they start poking things and typing. I'm like, it looks really cool, but if you think about that for a second, like trying to type on a keyboard where your hands are all at your fingers press at different levels. Anyway, I always thought that was never going to happen. So I think you do need some sort of a tactile thing for that to be real.
Yeah, there's some cool tech with things like ultrasound and stuff like that to give you like mid-air feedback.
Never tried that.
There are a bunch of people working on it, but yeah, that's also really cool to give you that feedback. But yeah, having a little fleshy button to push gives you the right feedback. People have been able to mimic it with mid-air ones with with sound, and some visual feedback, but it's just not as good as this.
Reminds me of driving a car and like trying to adjust the air conditioning on a screen. It's like I want to be able to just grab it and point it at me instead of having to do this whole dance with the touchscreen.
Yeah.
It's just the simple things. Yeah.
Can we try it on camera? Yeah. Okay.
Actually, I haven't got room setup on here.
Oh, that might be tough. I mean, should we can try in this small space right here? I'll try it. I'm willing to try it. We should put the blinders on.
One eternity later.
I like the fact of just like sunglasses mode, plug in while working on like a computer or something if you want to do something like that versus big battery crushing your head all the time.
It does look, I'll try it, but it does look and appear to be meaningfully smaller and lighter.
It looks way smaller. It's got a very like steampunk glasses. We're just going to talk over Shen setting this up for us to try out. But like the form factor itself does look far more, it's very Ready Player One, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. A little bit.
It seems like less, the Quest Pro felt like a like disc around your head, like rigid around the entire thing.
It's better than like the Quest 2 obviously was great, but the fact that all of the weight and all of the compute and all the battery is on the front of your head, it just has this like weighted feel to it. So if you whip your head around, it's just like there's just all this weight on the front of your face. So the fact that it's more balanced makes perfect sense when you have that much hardware on your head. So that I'm not shocked. That like makes good sense to me. Now I just want to see like as we race to make the technologies better and to make all these things smaller and lighter and maybe have longer battery lives and all that, like which direction do we go? Do we get these small batteries or small glasses with a big battery? Do we get which direction makes the most sense?
And just like battery in the back is obviously a weight distribution thing. And when you're doing things, like you said, whipping your head around, it's going to hold it back there better and feel better in a sense like that. But sitting back in a chair, laying down on a pillow on a plane ride or something like that, that is obviously in the way. Being able to just plug into USB-C through a power option, which if you're sitting down is probably not an issue.
Yeah.
Then having the ability to do that without crushing your skull.
I haven't done this yet, but at one point I will. I can't wait to sit down on a plane and put a VR headset on and watch a movie in the VR headset. I think it's going to be the best plane movie ever.
It will be because you have a 300-inch screen.
Yeah.
So if you took every screen in first class and put it together, it would
combine to maybe be close. And then you get your headphones on, and you also have the blinders on, so you don't have like someone 2 rows in front of you opening the window, blasting light all over your screen. I think that's going to be
I mentioned this when we were talking about the Vive Flow is like, or you're watching a movie on the plane that you don't realize has a scene that feels inappropriate for the passengers around you. Then like, I think I watched Wolf of Wall Street, and then within like 20 minutes, I was like, no, too many people can see me
like
watching
the screen. You're watching the movie on your screen, but then the person next to you is watching a different movie, and then you like get distracted by their
and
movie.
You're watching theirs
and then the person in front of you is watching. Yeah, it's a lot.
All right, I told myself that I would watch a movie with VR glasses on the train last time I took it to Philly. And I never got over the embarrassment. I like made it like maybe 30 seconds into the movie before I was like,
it's got to be a plane where you'll never see those people again.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll become more popular and less ridiculous eventually.
You just don't want to see yourself like on Twitter later.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who's this guy? Also, I notice way too often when I'm in the VR space, my mouth is open for some reason. I'm just like totally wallied out. So.
I feel like I don't know. If I can't see people making fun of me, they're not making fun of me.
They don't exist.
Unless you're right. Until you're on Twitter later.
Yeah. Or you can turn on pass-through and see if people are taking photos of you.
Or I could turn on pass-through and then see all the people making fun of me.
I think
it's going to become more normal, especially in first class. Remember, quiet comforts used to be that like, I know that guy travels. I think headsets like these, or even just more like AR or like the Nreal where you look at it, have your own screen, is going to be the new quiet comforts of like, that guy travels, that guy's in first class.
If we turn back time to maybe 12 years ago, right? Any phone over like 5 inches was too big.
Mm-hmm.
So people were like mocking like having a tablet on your head.
Yeah.
But like
Now look at it.
now
You
they're
can't
7
get
inches.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
All right. Here we go.
You can give this a go, and it's
Yeah.
on Open Brush, so it's a painting experience. But I have pass-through turned on, so you
Okay.
can see your surroundings. You can kind of paint on the desk itself.
All right. So I'm putting it on now, and I'm
So-
gonna try to tighten.
The back.
How should I?
Yeah, there's a little dial.
Oh, okay. There's a little dial on the back,
Yeah.
and pass-through is turned on right now, and right away, this is the brightest and best looking color pass-through that I've ever seen. It does have a little bit of the it does suffer from being only one camera, so the perspective's not perfect, but as far as like drawing on objects around me and grabbing
I guess in
controllers-
terms of, you're saying not perfect, but in terms of affecting your reality of it,
yeah,
minimal.
There's a little bit of just like wide angle choice, like choosing which focal length to use for it seems a little narrow. I can't see my hands over here, but when you get in here, bright and colorful and looks great. And yeah, the tracking is really good on these too. So I'm gonna try to draw something. I'm gonna draw a logo. You have to guess
Do I
what
have
logo.
to guess what logo?
You could
It's
probably-
like the Disney Channel logo thing. I mean, yeah.
You already know which one.
It's the MKBHD logo.
Yeah.
This is also off topic. Our logo is so hard to draw by hand. I've been working here for 6 years now, and I probably couldn't even make a good one by hand.
It's because you're not an AR.
How dare you?
Do you think I want to see you draw? Well, I'll see you draw one in a minute.
Yeah, no,
It's
you'll
hard.
see the screen recording. I screwed it up already.
It's the
proportions
angles.
are tough. Yeah, it doesn't. It's so simple and at the same time really tough, I think.
I tried it once. I can't remember why. But if you're off by like 10 degrees, which is minimal, it looks either really big
Draw the
or...
waveform logo. That'll be even harder
Oh, no, I'm not going to try that.
with the slots.
I think I did pretty good. You'll see the recording, which I did okay. But it is very, the tracking, like you said, is really, really good. The tracking of the controllers is great. I'm seeing the object in front of me. I almost want to like grab it and move it around. It's like very solid.
One thing you'll notice is we made this headset back heavy. So the weight distribution is where your neck is. So if you turn your head, it doesn't feel like there's anything hanging off the side of your
That
head.
is, it's
It's like
very,
the pivot point, almost
Yeah.
like a.
yeah, it's really well balanced. Like exactly what you're saying. Like when I turn my head around, I feel like there's the exact same amount in front of me and behind me, which is good.
Can we turn the volume down?
Yeah, I don't know. Where is that? And then the controls.
Oh, it might be the fan.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, I think
I can hear it
Yeah.
from Marques's headset. And
It's
I'm assuming that's-
it's pre-production
Oh, yeah.
hardware.
Yeah. So pre-production, you can still hear the fan, but it's not throttling,
no.
so that's good.
Can you potentially try on the adjustment, the no back adjustment? I know it won't turn on unless being plugged in, but
Yeah.
just in terms of feeling
Yeah,
weight
for sure.
distribution and comfort.
You also notice that we didn't put a top strap on this.
I was just gonna say, for Marques's hair, I'm sure he appreciates that a lot.
Yes, I much prefer headsets that don't have a top strap. I don't think I'm alone in that.
No.
But yeah, that is a huge win.
Yeah, during our research, we found a lot of people have a aversion to it. Like girls, it might ruin their hair. Like various people, like we have a few people in our European office who wear a turban, and having this is also something that's really inclusive
Fair.
for them.
Yeah.
So that's also why we try to make this design. We'll have a top strap in there just in case people really want to, maybe they want it really loose or they have a really small head.
Well,
But
they're getting really into Beat Saber.
yeah.
Just extra.
I was about to say, the tracking is good because I am our tracking team's worst enemy. Because every time they release something, I test it on like Beat Saber or something
Nice.
else. I'm like, this is off by like a centimeter.
That's Beat Saber is that one, like, my wife makes fun of me all the time because I'll be playing it and she'll just see me swing around. I'll be like, I hit that. That was off. I know I got that one. And she's like, yeah, I'm sure you do. I'm like, no, I need to recalibrate these. It's totally off.
Yeah. So I'm currently, if you're not watching the video version, I'm now wearing it without the battery on the back, and you would have, with this USB-C port, I imagine, a battery plugged in with a cable in your back pocket, something like that. It is great if you're gonna lie back. I would do this, but you can definitely feel the weight of it now on the front of your face, just like a Quest 2 or anything like that. And I much prefer having the back strap and the battery on. So if I'm leaning back, this is fine. But the second I want to move around, I'm doing the back strap.
Can I try real quick?
Yeah.
We'll try with a hat on too. I don't know.
Should still work with the hat.
Yeah, it works
Dude,
fine with the hat.
it looks cool with a hat.
I forgot I wasn't gonna see anything. It looks cool with this hat, by the way. Just saying.
One of one. You can't buy it anywhere.
We don't even have a link to.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can feel it on the bridge of your nose a bit.
Yeah, we tried a lot of. We went through a lot of designs, and we really like this sunglasses style design. And if you really look, like we tried to hide the cameras so they're not too obvious. Even the speakers, we deliver a lot of volume, a lot of clarity, a lot of bass, but we still try to make it as hidden as possible because we want it to really do look like glasses.
Are the speakers on the strap that's going behind your ear?
Yeah,
Is
they're
it-
like right next to your ears.
But it's not bone conduction. It's just a speaker.
Yeah, it's just a speaker.
That it?
Yeah. So we
Oh, okay.
if you get really close to your ears, that's how you get bass.
Yeah.
Because bass just falls off so quickly. So even compared to like Vive Flow, we halved the distance between the speakers and the ears, and we also made the speakers bigger. So the drivers themselves are bigger as well.
Smart. Yeah.
It's wild to me that you're holding a VR headset in a frame like that.
Yeah. I mean, you still
kinda-
need the battery, but this is good.
Yeah.
This is really nice. I'm excited about the future of where these things go. Like every time we get to try a new VR experience, I'm looking for kind of two things now. One is visual fidelity and overall just like how immersive can it be, which is always great when you're not doing pass-through and you're just like in the game and you see everything. But then when the pass-through mode is really good, I think that's the new thing to focus on, which is really fun. And then two is just like, can I be comfortable in it? Is it lightweight? Does it look insane? Because the early VR headsets, speaking of CES, the first time I ever tried a VR headset was an Oculus Rift at CES. And I just remember like the whole setup process, plugging it into the computer. All of it was a nightmare until I put the headset on and I was like, whoa, this is kind of cool. This has real potential here. So we've seen it evolve over time and I'm now looking forward to like the next versions of it. But this is really cool. I think a lot of people are going to really like it.
Yeah, I think a lot of the user experience is something we've been working on a lot. We want things to be pick up and go. Even with the Vive, right, there was a setup process. And it was kind of worse when we had dev kits because that's when Microsoft didn't have official support for it, stuff like that. Developers and us used to kind of joke, which is like we'd have a process of booting up a PC. You plug in a USB, you wait until the Windows logo before you plug in the HDMI, and then you wait until like 5 seconds after the start menu appears, you plug in the power, and then pray to some deity and hope it works. So I'm really glad we're past that. And I think with mobile headsets, if you plug in power, it'll just get up and go. And we put a tiny battery in here, which also allows for hot swapping. So if you are like using it for fitness, right,
That's smart.
and you want to use it for more than 2 hours completely wirelessly, you can have a second a second battery back, or you can have like an existing power bank, and you can go into glasses mode and just attach it to here.
That is a really good idea. I didn't even think of that. Obviously, having the ability to pop off the battery is new, but well thought. Well played. Sick. I have to ask one more question. Long, far off future, where do you see VR headsets in general? Do you see the ultimate goal of these being like a super small like glasses thing that's super immersive that everybody wears all the time? Or do you still see it as a separate experience from the normal everyday work and play? Because I feel like there are companies out there who make it very clear that they think we should spend all our time in VR. And that's kind of hard to see for me right now, but I'm curious how you guys look at it.
I think there's a goal that everyone thinks is viable, which is like super small glasses, maybe 5G connected, with cloud computing, and that's kind of a really nice goal to have. But the challenge isn't thinking about what the goal is. The challenge is thinking how you get there, right? Like going back to like the smartphone example, we're at, 7-inch smartphones, but smartphones went through this period, well, phones in general went through this period of being really big and getting small and then being big again because the user experience ended up being better with it being bigger. It was really good with dumb phones when they were really small. And I think VR will probably go through something similar. And it's about what features do you pick, right? How do we, as you have more adoption, all those costs come down as well, right? When we started making VR headsets, we ended up, some of the first prototypes we worked on with Valve, they're like smartphone displays that we like glued on.
Yeah.
But now things like these, right? We have custom displays in these. The reason why like you have $100 smartphones now is because there are so many off-the-shelf components you can pick. So I think we'll get to a point where that will become a thing, but we're trying to build out all the technologies needed to hit that, right? Like if I went and got all these parts and sold them together, if I don't have the software, none of it works, right? And it's not just like, it runs a custom Android operating system, but also all the tracking algorithms. They have like deep learning algorithms in there as well. And all of that just takes also time and a lot of resources to build. And we're just talking about the basics. I think with things like the metaverse, there are so many other fundamental basics that we have to build together to really reach this goal of, having people want to be in there, right? There's a way of, it's not something you can force people to go in. There has to be some value for people to go back into it.
100%. Yeah. I think we'll keep looking for that killer app and that value that people really find the most compelling. But until then, the demos are really fun. So
yeah, can you also you've been playing VR for a long time and you're great at Beat Saber. For the VR gamers out here, can you give us a couple? I find my hardest thing playing VR is finding a game that I enjoy and going back to the same two over and over again. So any suggestions?
Okay.
Good, not well
hidden
known
gems
besides Superhot and Beat Saber.
Okay. It's also very well known, but like Pistol Whip is also really good.
Okay.
And if you're someone who hates doing squats, like it makes you do squats.
Okay.
Because you're dodging bullets all the time.
I could use some squats.
dodging bullets.
But aside from like the music-based games, one thing that is really cool, and we're actually going to show at CES, is called Kayak VR, and it's exactly what it is. What it sounds like. You are in a kayak and you're kayaking around. But it has some of the most beautiful scenes. It has like Antarctica with penguins. It has like fjords in Norway. It's really nice to just go in and chill.
Is it like high definition shot or is it like graphics?
It's PC VR as well. So
Okay.
it's only released on PC VR because it needs that horsepower.
Okay.
But you can connect this wirelessly to a PC and it gives you a really nice experience.
That I would love. My mom loves VR. I would love to sit her on the ottoman in my living room and just let her kayak around. I mean, I could do that all day. That sounds...
Yeah, my mom kind of likes VR too.
Your mom loves VR. Yo, when your mom came over, she played Beat Saber and was like screaming Star
Really
Wars
into
references. It was awesome.
Yeah. I might have to, we'll get her set up with one of these. Sick. All right, thank you again to Shen from HTC for the time and the demo. And with the last few minutes, we do want to go over the trivia answers. So we're back with David. We have our whiteboards and we have the two trivia questions to reconsider and figure out our answers for. Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, gamers.
Yeah.
Oh, the G Fuel.
Which one of these flavors is fake?
Yikes.
Oh my goodness.
Number 1, spicy demonade. Number 2, clickbait. Number 3, blaze potion. Number 4, battle juice. And number 5, the juice.
Why did you say it like that?
I don't know.
The juice.
Just for the record, I've never had G Fuel in my life.
Yeah, just for the record, I'll be happy no matter what happens here because I get a point. Or I don't know anything about G Fuel.
Yeah, I've never had G Fuel either.
Both wins. Yep.
Flip them and read.
So I said number 1.
Demonade with spicy demonade?
Spicy
Yeah,
Demonade.
That is wrong.
I said Blaze Potion.
I made that one up.
Nice.
And
Oh, I said clickbait.
no, there's an actual G
Yes.
Fuel flavor called clickbait.
I did write in
Nice.
parentheses, clickbait is a good name.
If you were curious, clickbait tastes like cherry pomegranate.
I thought it'd be clickbait because that's not like a gaming term. It's more of like just a internet term.
G Fuel's kind of gone to the point of like just like they're like the Raid Shadow Legends of energy drinks.
Doesn't G means gamer fuel?
Maybe it did, but who knows what it means.
sense.
Also, look at all these pop-ups that come up when I go on this sale.
Holy
big
guacamole.
sale, end of year BOGO sale. Still has 2 days left.
I feel like I'm on mushrooms looking at this website.
Wait,
January 3rd.
the reason I picked Blaze is because they're partnered with FaZe, and I assumed those two couldn't coexist.
So it'd be phase
No,
potion.
Phase
you're
Blaze
right.
sounds
The
good.
phase flavors all of the word phase in
Okay.
them. There is one. There's a few that have the word
That's
potion.
not a tech trivia question.
It's a gamer.
It's tech adjacent. Damn.
We make the
Whatever.
rules.
Fine.
Second question.
Also, we're not interested in a G Fuel sponsorship.
No,
If
yeah.
in
any
case
G
that
Fuel
wasn't
people
clear.
are watching,
Yeah.
we
That
are
wasn't
not
clear.
interested.
Do not email us. Okay. How many AirTags can you attach to your Apple ID? Quick update. Andrew is in the lead with 1.
Oh, nice.
I've written mine through the back.
Also,
Amazing.
I know there is a number. It sounds crazy that they would limit it because one, it's making more money for Apple.
I think it was, well, I'm kind of giving away too much information here, but I'll say it anyway. I think
Yeah,
it was
nice.
kind of like they just didn't expect people to get that many and they never bothered thinking about it. But also, Justine hit the number. I'm very confident some YouTuber has hit that number.
So like a
So it's like
obvious
a, it's
number,
like
or it's like a really high number?
It's a reasonable,
number?
for someone to
487.
hit. You know,
I have an idea. Mr. Krabs, I have an idea. But
I in my account right now have 4 AirTags and 2 other Find My things that have the. I have my wallet is one, and I have AirTags on my keys and the tripod bags. So just anyway,
why
All
the
right.
tripod bags in particular?
because that's the only thing that we check under the plane.
Yeah.
So it's like if we depart with our belongings, that's the only thing we can
because
lose.
remember those stories? We don't want that happening to
True.
the cameras.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Anyway, all right. I have my answer.
Flip them and
Is
read
this
'em.
wait? Is this like closest delta, or is it? You need the exact
If we all
number?
get it wrong,
is right. Price is
No.
I hate prices.
if
Right.
we all get it wrong, it should be closest.
Sure. Okay,
Delta.
fine.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Here's the answers.
What'd you guys
Oh.
say?
Oh, Andrew and I
okay.
both said 30.
Yeah.
I said 10. Oh,
Wait,
Marques
close.
is the closest though, so he gets the point.
is it 9 or
The answer is 16.
16?
Yeah. So they
That seems
raised it to
very
16.
low.
that seems really low.
And
That
then
seems
there were-
super
But like,
low.
think about it. Like, who has 16
Wait,
AirTags?
did they? I might.
You have 16.
You have
I
16.
currently
You
have.
don't have 17, I can tell you that.
I think I have 9.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Wait,
Yeah,
why?
I'm about to hit
are
the
they-
limit.
Oh, they're on your cameras.
I have it on all my expensive
Yeah,
cameras.
that makes sense.
If you just think about like someone who might have just like way more than usual, just like going, oh, I'll put an AirTag on all of my X, Y, and Z. You
Yeah.
might get to like 12 or
Wait,
something.
Adam, can you fact check that to make sure they didn't?
Oh, I
increase
spent
it?
like the last 5 minutes fact checking it.
I could
16.
see a scenario where you're a parent and you have AirTags on your things and now the things of your kids, where you could hit 16 very
you know what
easily.
you know what I just found out about? There's
Kids?
a
Parents?
there is a piece of wearable technology that you give a kid that is basically a phone. It's like a bracelet, but it only can make and receive calls from pre-programmed numbers, like the parents or
Okay.
friends. And there's an app that the parents can use to log in to track the location of the bracelet all the time and can call the bracelet. Did you know about these?
No, I would just have
I'm
my
getting
kids
one.
swallow an AirTag.
Just like a kid AirTag. It's a kid AirTag, basically.
Picture you're like out with your friends and stuff, and it's like 7:30. You know, you're like a little late. Your mom's
Yeah.
probably wondering, and then your mom starts coming out of your wrist like, "Yo,
Yeah.
Like a walkie-talkie.
I don't want to say how, but I saw an app of one of these, and there is a setting where you can have it bypass the ring and just open a call.
just push to talk."
Wait, like what is the targeted audience at
Immediately.
this? Because when you said kid, I thought 10, but when
8-year-olds.
you started talking about like
Kids
out
too
with
young to
your
get a
friends,
phone. Too young to get a phone. too old enough to leave the house, too young to go.
guess,
Yeah, not like you're not like out. You're not like at the 8-year-old club. You're,
No,
you're on the cul-de-sac.
summer
Oh, the
You're-
cul-de-sac.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
Kids don't go outside anymore.
yeah.
Born too
I would
late.
The ones
be-
that do are plugged in.
I'd be so mortified and embarrassed if my mom pushed to talk down in my
That would be
wrist.
such a flex. Like,
I'm
hold on,
gonna
wait, I gotta
troll
talk to my
my
mom
kid.
on my wrist real quick. Give me a sec.
Imagine this: you're drinking G Fuel with your gamer
Yeah.
friends.
You just down a big tub of clickbait.
You're playing Fortnite, down in some clickbait,
Marques, can you end this?
and suddenly your mom.
The storm's closing in.
Hey, Jimmy, do you want Milo for dinner tonight? Mom, I'm playing G Fuel Gamer.
No, Mom, I'm trying to clutch this victory royale. Waveform is produced by Adam Molina and Ellis Roven. We were partnered with the Vox Media Podcast Network, and our intro-outro music was created by Vane Sill.